With Cybertruck unveil, Giga Shanghai, and record deliveries, 2019 was an incredible year for Tesla. But you might wonder how Tesla will manage its way through 2020. Will Tesla achieve its target to comfortably exceed 500,000 deliveries? Will they be profitable? Will they need to raise capital? Let's find out. I think the first important thing to look at is last quarter results. So in Q4 2019, Tesla delivered around 112,000 vehicles. In their quarter report, they mention a run rate of 490,000 vehicles per year in Fremont, as well as 150,000 vehicles in Shanghai. Those run rates might be optimistic, of course, but because Tesla is planning to expand Model 3 and Y capacity by mid-2020, I think it's reasonable to use them as a worst-case estimate. Because coronavirus was dealt with very quickly in China, it should have little impact on Shanghai's ability to output cars, but will be extremely conservative, suppose they don't deliver every car they built, and consider 120,000 Model 3s this year from Shanghai. But what about Fremont? A shutdown was recently announced, and their suppliers are obviously forced to shut down as well because of coronavirus. There is no way to know for sure how long the shutdown could last, but 1 month seems like a reasonable assumption. And in 1 month, they would build around 40,000 cars, so again, we'll use 50,000 just to be on the safe side. This gives us 120,000 vehicles for China and 440,000 cars for Fremont, giving us a total of 560,000 cars over the year. These are obviously vehicles produced, but over the year it should pretty much equate to deliveries, as Tesla tends to push deliveries by the end of year. You can play around with these numbers, but 500,000 deliveries really seems like a given at this point, even considering the current events. When it comes to Q1 specifically, I'm not gonna get into details about the financials, because that's not my job, it's Gali's. But I'll just say this. The virus should impact a week or two on Tesla's balance sheet. Cash flow will suffer, of course, from Tesla having to rebuild their inventory, but cash isn't a real issue right now, as Tesla holds $8.3 billion in cash, thanks to the recent capital raise, which was absolute genius with a perfect timing. Then to quickly go over the rest of the year, Q2 2020 could get nasty because of coronavirus, but I guess we'll have to see. Another thing worth remembering every now and then is FCA, the Fiat Chrysler Association. They made a deal a while back with Tesla for around $1.8 billion worth of CO2 credit over the next 2 years, a big chunk of which will go to Tesla this year, though it may be lower than 1.8 billion since FCA will probably sell less ICE vehicles than anticipated. Then we have Model Y, which deserves an entire video just by itself. Demand for a Model 3 already exceeds what Tesla can output, and now we're talking about a vehicle in the most popular segment across the world. I don't know where you live, but everywhere I've been, it's crossover and SUV all over the place. The demand for SUVs is mind-blowing. Tesla could easily have demand for 1 million Model Ys a year in the long term. And 2020 will also be the most important year for full self-driving, as Tesla is currently working on rewriting the base code for autopilot. Again, they are rewriting the base code for autopilot. I won't get into details today, but consider this. I'm a software developer, and I can tell you that every time I decided to wipe my entire code to start back from scratch, my final code ended up being way better, way more optimized, because I expected every subtle detail and every small feature I hadn't expected the first time. And whatever few things I did right in the first version, I could simply copy to the new version. If you have to remember one thing, it's simply that once it's done, Tesla will improve much faster on their autopilot features. But even more importantly, Q2 2020 is Battery and Powertrain Investor Day. I cannot wait for Battery Day. You should really go check out the Limiting Factors channel. I will link his videos in the description. Go check it out. Battery Investor Day will be huge. Have you ever seen a firework? Well, that's Battery and Powertrain Investor Day. If I had to guess, I would say Elon will start by talking about the Plaid powertrain performances, which will blow everyone's minds. think 0-100 kilometers an hour in 2.2 seconds. Top speed in excess of 300 kilometers an hour. Then he might mention the upcoming wiring harness for Model 3 and Y. This will allow for more robots on the assembly lines. This means time, this means efficiency, this means money. But then, the plat de résistance, batteries, 1 million mile battery today thanks to additives to the electrolyte. This does not require any fundamental change to the current tech, just 3% of material added to the electrolyte. Then, denser batteries, probably 320 watt-hours per kilogram, for cheaper than current tech. This is huge. This means Tesla could either improve its gross margins, the range on their vehicles, or lower the cost of their vehicles. It's called Roadrunner for a reason. This is how Tesla wins. I would expect Model S and X to get this tech first, which would mean a new battery for Model S and X at 120 kilowatt hours. That's 700 kilometers of range on a single charge. Then it might seem small in comparison, but removal of the 12-volt battery in Model 3 and Y within a few months. Your Tesla will be the only car on the market to not have a 12-volt battery. How cool is that? So let me assure you, if you thought the Cybertruck unveil was crazy, Battery Investor Day is next level insanity. To quote the man himself, it blows my mind and I know it. After that, construction of Giga Berlin will continue and make great progress. I mean, don't expect cars to come out of the factory this year, but I'm confident the shell will be finished in Q3 and progress on the assembly lines during Q4, something like that. The new US Gigafactory will be announced, very likely to be in Texas, and might even break ground before the end of the year, as Tesla wants a factory up and running as fast as possible for Cybertruck. They want it quickly, and they'll make sure to make a deal with a state that gets it. So between coronavirus, the FCA deal, Battery Investor Day, Model Y and Gigafactories, I have zero doubt that 2020 will be Tesla's craziest year by far. Profitability doesn't seem likely because of coronavirus, but this is irrelevant. What's important is the groundwork on future tech and factories, and I look forward to hearing about this groundwork at Battery Investor Day. I really do. We are reaching the part of the exponential curve that will blow everybody's minds, including ours. Thank you so much for watching. Tell me what you think will impact Tesla this year, and I will see you in another video. Bye.